And we're back to learning Inkscape, and this time I'm going to show you how to create a radar plot graph. We'll start with the Polygon tool. I use 5 corners, so I want to create it for 5 parameters. If you've got more, you have to increase the corners. I'll give it a stroke while holding shift, clicking on the black color swatch. And I get rid of the fill with the X. Then I make sure that this lock icon is active, so that my width and height are adjusted at the same time. I press Ctrl D and I go down 100 millimeters for each. Then I select them all, Object Fill and Stroke. And under Stroke Style, I'll change the stroke width, let's say to 2 millimeters. Object Align and Distribute, and I put everything to the center. Then I press Ctrl G, this is our starting point. I've got the snapping enabled. I want to have snap to paths and snapping for the rotation center as well, so make sure these icons are checked. I create a rectangle, holding Ctrl, I give it a fill, no stroke. I'll select both elements and then I align it. Let me size this one down, holding Shift and Ctrl. So it's the easiest way for us to find the center position. It makes the next step easier. At first, create this line, holding Ctrl. The other ones can now be easily drawn with this rectangle in the center. You can see this one is perfectly aligned for the corners of the polygon. We need another one down here. Let us delete the rectangle in the center. Then I'll select it all. And again, I use under the stroke style the width. We can group that as well, pressing Ctrl G. If you want to give it a fill color in the background, the best way to do it is to simply create another polygon with 5 corners. Use the cursor tool and resize it. And then put it in the background. Maybe you want to give it a gradient. Many of these radar plot graphs do have a gradient, so just use the gradient tool. Now let's use the type tool and create these parameter names. I'll hold Ctrl and I'll size it up. You can adjust it when you've got the type to active, pick a different font or different style. And you want to align it to the center of the graph. Then press Ctrl D to copy it. Then press T, click on these copy elements and you can adjust them. Let me just use 5 typical names like IT, marketing, HR. And it looks way better when I've got the administration on top and the sales at the bottom. You want to align these properly so that they are on the same level. So shift click on the elements and then use the align menu once more. Once again, Ctrl G. You're ready for the next step. Let's create another rectangle holding Ctrl. Then we use the type tool. Let's call that data A. I'll size it up holding Ctrl. I want to create 2 more, so let me copy that, Ctrl D. Then I'll press T for the type tool and change it to B and C. I don't want to change the fill colors for the rectangles. So I don't want to use green on a green gradient. Now I press Ctrl G on these elements, then I select them all and use the distribution right here. Then Ctrl G, and we've got our legend created. Now we only have to use the Bezier tool to create our data sets in the graph. The snapping helps here. Give it the right fill color and get rid of the stroke. And then go down with the opacity to, let's say, 50. Now just repeat it for the other two data sets. You can also go down with the opacity in the legend if you want to, as it usually has a background that has a different color. It's not necessary, but you could do that. Just Shift Ctrl G to ungroup, select your rectangles here and go down with the opacity to 50 as well. And this is the process that you can use to create these radar plot graphs in Inkscape. I hope this video was helpful, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.